G'day guys, got a little quick one here for you. Villiers Mark 10. She's a bit sad, but we're going to clean her up and get her to rock and roll, hopefully.
Well guys, the last thing I need in my shed is another engine. But anyway, this got given to me. It's a Villiers, it's a Mark 12, I think. It's basically almost identical to these two, which is the two blue ones. They're both Australian built. So there is slight differences in this one. This is actually an English one. The Australian ones didn't have the Villiers cast into the sump. There's no ID tag on it that I can see. It does rotate. I don't know if it's got spark or not. Look at the old plug. It looks like an old golden lodge. I mean, look at that. Don't even know if it's any good. Muffler's missing, as you can see, but that's no big deal. Carby, we should be able to do something with. Hasn't got a fuel tank, but I've got something that I should be able to retrofit. I don't know what it was powering. But yeah, it's basically there. These brackets have had it, but I'll make up something new for the new tank. It's no compression. I'd say it's probably got a stuck exhaust valve. Most of these are that way. Don't know what else. The carby's stuck there. It could be, it could be buggered inside. I don't know. But yeah, we'll strip it down, clean it up, make something out of it. Look, it's just another one of them, as I say, guys. But yeah, now that the tractor's done, I need something to keep myself amused. So I thought, right, we'll have a crack at this and clean it up and. Yeah, I don't know, do something with it. So let's hook in. I think we'll start by pulling the plug and we'll have a look if that can tell us anything. Well, that's interesting. And that plug was in about, I don't know, 2 turns and it come out. So it doesn't even, it looks like basically the right thread. Yeah, but it wasn't screwed right in. And I think it's I think it's the wrong. Oops, I think it's the wrong plug. I think the reach is wrong. Anyway, we'll put a new plug in it. I'm not mucking about with that, but yeah, Golden Lodge, eh? It looks like a 2-piece spark plug. It looks like you could probably pull it apart and clean it right up. Well, I got that frame off, guys. Had to cut one of the bolts. I'll have to drill that out, and that's broken. Yeah, they were right in there. Interesting difference there. The pan's different. The Australian ones have a different setup. They have four bolts holding the, you know, if you want to bolt the motor down. Yeah, so that's a difference. Yeah, carby, air cleaner. It's the same as the other one over there, actually. Yeah, we'll keep going. Oh, there's a bit of a name tag there. I just spotted that. Yeah, we'll carefully try and remove that and see what it's got to say. Well, this sort of stuff. Yeah, you're probably opening up, you know, 50, 60 years worth of filth here. This might never have been off. Yeah, it's actually in remarkably good condition. It's not, a little bit of a dent down the bottom there, but we can clean that up. Yeah, it's in pretty good nick. We'll be able to tidy that up all right. That fan is actually bolted on to the flywheel. And if it's like any other Villiers, there'll be some, yeah, see there's a little funny little arrow there. You can just make it out. That'll line up somewhere on there for your timing. Hopefully this will undo all right. But yeah, absolutely, you know, zero compression there. So we'll just, yeah, it won't take long to get this down. Just depends, like if the components had it inside, it's going straight in the bin or it'll just become for spares, you know. I'm not spending any bloody money on it at all. Carby comes off pretty easy, guys. It's just 2 nuts and you've got to disconnect the governor. There's a couple of ways you can do that. I'll probably just go for that link there. It's the easiest thing to get at. That's, of course, if it does. All the rest of this is jammed up pretty tight. So, yeah, heap of WD-40. Carby's probably all right. I think I can get a kit for the carby, so we'll have a look at it. Well, being a Villiers, They come up with all sorts of stuff. That looks like brass, and I'm tipping, I could be wrong, I reckon that whole flywheel is brass. From what I can see, I could be wrong. This looks like the points in there. Looks like it's missing a cover. Down in there, I don't even know if they're working, doesn't matter. Actually, we should check, I'll check it for spark before I go too far, because it may need a coil or something, who knows, but looks like we undo that, and if true to Villiers form, that should probably pull the whole flywheel. Yeah, I was right, that flywheel's brass. That is going to polish up absolutely beautifully. As I say, typical Villiers, the nut is captive, so it pulls the flywheel with it. There's your pickup for your high tension lead there off the coil. All looks there, interesting set of points. Yeah, very well pitted in there, very well pitted. Haven't seen a condenser yet, or a capacitor, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping that all this will be serviceable. Give it all a good clean up anyway. And as I say, look, if it's got a hole in a piston or something, forget it. I'll just salvage it for spares. But yeah, that flywheel, look at that. That is a beautiful piece. I mean, that's, you know, being in brass, they wouldn't have done that for a long, long, long time. The cost of it would be, you know, phenomenal. Well, heads off. No holes in pistons. The exhaust valve is sticky, as you can see there. The intake's coming up and down, the exhaust goes up and stays up, so that's a compression problem. Yeah, there's a little bit of a tag there, I don't know what that means, some part number. That's the way the piston goes, so remember that number goes towards the pulley. Yeah, I'd say the valves are going to want a bit of work. Yeah, keep going, I'll pull the sump and all that sort of stuff, and we'll see what we've got. A little bit of a trap up in there, guys. Just in there, there's a little bloody flathead screw, tapered, countersunk flathead screw, which will also hold that breaker plate on. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, and it didn't want to move. I'm tipping that should come now. If not, there might be another one behind there. So, yeah, the temptation is to give it a real wallop, and you would have, as I say, had a bit of damage. Yeah, so just watch out for that one. It was well hidden. And there's your whole breaker plate assembly. You can see the business end in there. Haven't looked at any of that yet. So, yeah, as I say, there's your breaker plate assembly. That's also the rear bearing. That'll need a lot of cleanup, but that should, provided it's all serviceable. We've got a critter in there, an earwig. Should come up all right. It needs all a damn good clean. If the coil's all right and all of that's all right, we'll be okay. We should be able to make this run, I reckon. Well, the pan's off, guys. No real surprises. Everything at this point looks like it's intact. Nothing, no big deal in the pan. Yeah, good clean out obviously is in order. I tried to heat that pulley. I got it to move, but I haven't got a puller. So I've had to put a chisel in behind there, and it's gone as far as it's going to go. I'll probably just cut it off. I don't need it, and they're easy enough to get. Yeah, I'll be able to pull the piston in a little bit, but I'll have to get that pulley off sooner or later to get the crank out. Well, I got that bastard pulley off, guys. Had to get a bit rough with it, but I didn't want it anyway. I basically put an angle grinder cut in it and just chiseled down, supporting the back of it, or else you'll bugger the crank. And that sort of spread it enough that I could get it off. Didn't damage the crank in any way by the look of it. So, yeah, the crank can come out, and in fact, that will come out just like so. There we have the crank. Yeah, just got to tap out the shaft for the cam, which is that one there, and it will go that way because on the other side is a little circlip which you can sort of make out. That'll let me get the valves and that out and the lifters, and it's just a matter of getting that exhaust off, and we're ready to start inspecting and cleaning. Well, the exhaust valve seat tells its own story. Yeah, it's pretty ugly. I'll clean it right up and lap it as best I can. I have no cutters. The intake's fine. The exhaust valve appears to be all right. Yeah, it'll all clean up. Like I say, I'm not spending money on this, but I should be able to get that to a point where it's satisfactory. It's never going to be going in a Formula 1 car, so 100% performance probably ain't going to matter, but yeah, no, we'll clean that up, we'll get it nice. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm keen to see what I can do with this flywheel. As I've said, it's brass. A little bit of a bent fin there. I'll see if I can straighten that. Other than that, it's got 4 bolts holding the fins down. One is broken, 2 are fitted, and one's missing the nut. So I'll have to see what I can do about that. But yeah, as I say, this is brass, and that is going to polish up beautifully. Also, as I said earlier, I think with the Villiers, you'll see there's a little arrow there. That'll coincide with a mark on this plate. Probably that little notch there. You can just make it out. There's a little notch right there. They'll probably line up. They're your timing marks for the ignition, not for the valve timing. Yeah, we're going to see how we go cleaning this up. It's I'll probably stick it in the lathe and spin it up and polish it and what have you. But I'm going to try and take off this fin assembly without damaging it. So we'll see how we go here, I don't know. Nothing like a bit of polish, guys. That's the flywheel. Yeah, come up nice. Almost too scared to touch it. No, it's not that good. As I say, there's that little arrow there. You can just make it out. Come up nice, yeah, nice little flywheel. As I say, you don't see that too bloody often, so don't know what year it would be, this engine. It'd have to be 50s at the most, but come up all right. I've just got to dress up those screws. One of them was broken. Those actually, those 4 studs, I thought they were studs. They're actually screws, go right through, but one of them is broken. So I'll have to see what I can do about that. No, it's not broken, or is it? Hang on, they should be all the same length. Yeah, one's broken. Yeah, that one there, obviously. I don't even know if I can replace them or what. They'd be a Whitworth thread. Don't know what I'll do with them yet. Anyway, we'll see. But what we'll do now is we'll give this aluminium ring a good sandblast and see if we can straighten it. Flywheel's basically done, guys. Couldn't find anything to fix that broken screw there. It'll be all right. It's got 3 holding it. I mean, it's not pulling 15,000 RPM, so balance isn't going to be a huge issue. But yeah, little flywheel come up quite nice. We're going to clean up this breaker plate, guys. No huge big secrets on any of that. That's the little oiler for the cam. It's the rubbing block for the points. Decent old set of points, but they're pretty, if you sort of look in there, bit ordinary. The coil works. I put my little 12 volt tester. You can turn it right down. I turned it down to about 6 volts. I don't know what sort of voltage you get out of the magnets and that. Negative on there. Hold your plug lead near the earth and then just touch with the positive, and you will get a spark jumping across the lead, which tells me that the coil's working. So, I mean, there's probably better ways, but yeah, it's doing it. They're the mounting blocks for the coil, like so. There's 4 screws, 2 on either side. That's them. They just needed a hit with the impact driver to loosen them. Haven't had any luck undoing that coil thing yet. It's Bakelite and it's breaking up in me hands and that as I do it. Yeah, anyway, so we'll start disconnecting a few wires here. There's one central nut in the middle, and Looks like, yeah, if we undo that and the points will come out, that should all come up, and yeah, that should come apart. That's actually the condenser, or the capacitor. That's in that little round housing. To get that off, there's 1 and 2 nuts in there that look like that. That one went in the deeper one there, and the other one was just on the outside. I had to tap them a little bit to get them out, but they've probably been in there for 70 or 80 years, who knows. Won't pull that apart anymore. Hopefully it'll all be all right. We'll just clean it up as best we can. We'll take the bearing out, we'll take that stop switch out, and then we can clean that up. Waiting on a couple of parts for the back, actually paint on the backing plate over there hanging under the fan. Waiting for the paint to dry on that, and then I'll reassemble that. Then I'll start on the carby. I'm not going to dwell on this because you've seen me do these particular carbies before. It's a Villiers carb. I think that manifold is brass. Just looking at that, I think that's brass. I think that'll polish up nice. As is possibly this air cleaner. I've got a bit of a dent to pull out of that. Yeah, I know that's brass. I don't know about the rest. Anyway, we'll clean it up. Well, this is the part I love about mucking around with this old stuff. You never know what you find. Carby full of water and shit and that. Float. Lovely in there. That's really lovely. By the time I clean that out, it'll probably have a hole in it. It's pretty rusty. That goes there. Yeah, it's probably all right. Needs a damn good clean up. That jet and all that's got to come apart, and yeah, she needs a good tidy up. I think it'll be serviceable. Breaker plate's done, guys. Put a new wire in there. That's the one that goes round to the stop switch. Soldered that on. Seems to be hanging on all right. Cleaned everything up. Points are clean. I've got spark. Did up the end of it. Yeah, and the back's all painted. I've got to cut a gasket for that. Come up all right, the backing plate. Yeah, it looks okay. So we should have ignition. Yeah, points are all in and done. Put a little bit of oil on that felt when I do reassembly. We should be all right. Well, there's that carby all cleaned up, guys. I didn't show you going right through that. You've seen it before. Yeah, that's split open there. Not much I could do. The air cleaner was pretty beaten up, but it's all right, you know. Going with a slightly military look on this one. Had to change that screw in there, that brass one that you can see. That was broken. Nice brass manifold. Yeah, that's done, so that should be all right. The ignition's done, as you know. Just cleaned all the inside of that cowling and put that tar paint on it. Just that's pretty hard wearing, and it'll stop the rust and that sort of stuff. That'll take a while to dry, and that can be painted. And then we'll start getting stuck into the engine components. I also painted the tank. Well, that's not the original tank. We're going to give that a camo job. How well I'm at it, how well I paint camo, I have no idea. But yeah, we're going to give it a go, just for something different. So we'll see what happens. Well, never let it be said that I won't experiment. Yeah, as I was saying, it was going to go with this little engine's an army theme, so I've sort of played around with a bit of paint and just see, you know, a bit of a bloody camo job. 4 colours: the olive drab, a sand colour, a grey, and a black, a flat black. I mean, it's not bad for what it is. I mean, Christ. Look, you know, as I say, I'm not scared to have a go. It might not be brilliant, but it's sort of, you know, it's different. Well, you get the idea, guys. Cowling come up all right. Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's yeah, it's different. Well, there's our cylinder, guys. It's still wet. I've just degreased it and all of that sort of thing. Got to be all cleaned up. It's look, it's old, it's rusty, it's been out in the weather, not running a long time. But look, it's for what it is, it'll be all right. Got to do something with those studs too. I don't know what I'll do with them yet. Anyway, we'll start running a few threads, give it a hone. We're going to just lap in the valves. We've got to cut a couple of gaskets, but that one has got to be cut, so we'll clean that surface and then we'll be able to do the old tap on the paper trick, should fix it. A little bit of scoring in there, not much. As I say, I'm not spending any money on it. Tin of paint, that's about it. Cut a gasket for the bottom. Yeah, as I say, that's about it, and just clean up the ports, whatever we can. Yeah, she's just a little bit sad around the exhaust, but no, we'll clean it up, we'll make something out of it. Quick clean up of the ports, guys. That's your intake, that's your exhaust. Bit hard to get the light bloody right. Hang on, what do we got here? You can sort of see there. Look, it's just done with a Dremel, with a little grinding wheel, and just a little round wire brush. You can get right in there. As I say, look, it's not a Formula One car. Anything you do is going to be an improvement. I mean, cleaning those ports could give me at least another thousandths of a horsepower, at least, if that. We're just going over the top now, just cleaning up the deck. I'll just do it with a bloody hand sander sort of thing. Just keep it level and work on a crisscross pattern. You're not taking off that much, so you can still see all the machine marks. It's just to clean it up. Once that's done, we'll do the other gasket faces, and then we shall lap in some valves. Valves. Well, what can you say about them that hasn't already been said? Clean them up. I just put them in the drill on the wire buff and clean them right up. That one's obviously the exhaust, and also the little centre punch mark in it, which I put so I know it's the exhaust. Pays to, you know, sort of match up the parts how they were. On a thing like this, it's not going to matter too much, but keep it the same. Got a bit of paste, and oh, that's assembly lube. Got the wrong shit. Hang on, we don't want to use that. It won't do anything. And our little tool. We'll get a bit of paste, and we'll start on the exhaust. So that's what we're starting with. I'll just wipe that a bit so you can see it. It's pretty cruddy. The valve itself is pretty bloody good. That should lap in nicely, and the intake's really good as well. So those seats, they'll come up. They'll be absolutely fine. Not as good as a 3-angle bloody grind, but they'll be fine. Well, that exhaust valve come up nice, guys. If you look at the valve, you can see it's got that dull area. That's actually the seat, and the cylinder come up well. It's very thin over there, over the back. Take a lot of bloody grinding, but that'll seal. That's all right. I'm happy with that. We'll do the intake, and yeah, the valve should be good. Well, guys, we've basically out here, starting off in the wrong spot. We've cleaned up our engine block, given it a really good clean up. Oh, gee, they haven't done a very good job there. Yeah, ran all the threads, cleaned it all up, given it a good degreaser and a hose and all of that. It's just drying out now, and then we'll put some paint on it. Yeah, lapped all the valves, honed the cylinder, all that sort of stuff's done. Let's have a look at it's a beautiful day here. Let's have a look at the sump. Those bolts broke off, so I just trimmed them off square. I'll centre punch them and mill them out, and hopefully they'll come out all right. And yeah, there's no thread or anything in them, so as long as I sort of drill them out all the same size and that, it'd be all right, I think. There's a bit of a serial number there, C something M598, some sort of a serial number. No drilling necessary. As I was tapping them and banging and carrying on, they well, they weren't rusted in because that's aluminium and that's steel, but there's rust around them, but corroded in. Anyway, a bit of WD-40, bit of a belt with a hammer, and they come out. We'll clean all that up and get it ready for paint. We'll do a little bit of reassembly. What we're going to do is we're going to do some valve clearances. So yeah, your inlet and your exhaust, obviously, put them back where you've left them in. We'll clean up our cam. We'll just put it in temporarily at the moment with our lifters. Won't worry about springs yet. We can just push down on the valve and that will simulate the spring good enough to give us a clearance. That way, if we put the springs on and we have to shorten the valve, we don't have to pull the bloody springs out again. Yeah, so anyway, that's easy. But anyway, we'll bung our cam in just with a little bit of oil, and yeah, see how we go. And when we do the final assembly, we'll put some proper engine lube on it. Bit hard to see in there, guys. The intake, I got about a 10 thou. Don't know what it should be, but that'll be all right. The exhaust, I have no clearance, so that's not an issue. That's probably why, because we had to grind down the seat a bit, and that would reduce the clearance. All we'll do is we'll just very gently take a little bit off the bottom of the valve, very carefully. Don't heat it or anything like that, or get it too hot, and we'll try it again. Well, we got about a 10 thou on our exhaust as well, so that's our exhaust. Yeah, that's got about a 10 thou. Intake's got a 10 thou. That'll be fine. I don't know what the specs are. I know they've got to have a clearance, so we can take the cam back out and the followers, and we'll put the springs on and put the valves in now. Plenty of lube on them. Then we can put the cam in. Yeah, clean up a few parts, start a bit of reassembly. Bit dark, guys. Cam's in, valves are in, followers are in. That's a bit out of focus, I beg your pardon. Just trying to get the light and everything right. Yeah, lots of pre-lube on that. Engine assembly lube, whatever you want to call it. Pop your bearing in. You can just make it out in the back there. Is that better? No, probably not. And put the little retaining clip in. Then you can put your crank in. Find your little dot there, and on the crank will be a similar dot, which is, just make it out there. Line those two up and your crank's timed. Just make out your two marks there, guys. That is a timed crankshaft. Before you go too crazy, guys, just remember to put your governor activating rod in there, and I just put a new little copper washer behind that retaining nut, just in case it leaks. I doubt it will, but because it's only splash fed. But yeah, don't go too far, because yeah, you won't be able to get the bloody thing in. Put your governor in, guys, and put your retaining nut on and that little locating clip. Don't tighten that just yet, and just make sure you got free and easy movement, on the governor, like so. It's just, yeah, like so, something like that. Anyway, it is working. Yeah, and yeah, just put your little activator just up like so, and yeah, that's ready to rock and roll. Once your crank's in and timed, you can put the other side of the breaker plate on, because that also retains your other main bearing, so that can go in. I just put a little bit of sealer on the gasket, very little bit. Just make sure your crank's still rotating. We can't do point gap yet because the cam is actually on the flywheel. What we might do is start getting the piston ready to put in, I think, and then we can put the pan back on. Governor assembly's on, guys. Just loosely at this stage. None of it has been set. Yeah, I'll put a new spring in there. The other one was pretty rusty and crappy. But yeah, I'll set it all once it's all together. Usually the tighter the spring, the harder the motor will rev. I think that's the case, but you can sort of set it really to how you want it. But yeah, it's there more sort of to stop that bloody pin falling in and out, because once I put the pan on, you're screwed. Well, not really, no, because you've got a bloody clip in the back. Sorry, you're quite... Pistons in, guys. I didn't show you. Look, you've seen it a million times. Yeah, just tighten it down to whatever the tension required and put some new split pins in and cut them off. Make sure they don't interfere with anything as the crankshaft rotates. If they're too long, they will interfere with the side of the crank and break off and ruin your engine. So once you've got that in, then you can put your oil slinger in. I think it'll go either way, but put it on and check if the motor rotates properly. Not an oil slinger, that's your little reservoir with a hole in the side. Put it on, check that it rotates. If it rotates okay, then that'll be fine. I think it goes that way with the hole facing towards that way, if that makes sense. But you can turn it either way, I think, but we'll have a look. Well, sump's on, guys. Yeah, just touched up the nuts and bolts with a bit of matte black paint, rotating nicely. Yeah, it's sort of starting to look like an engine. Not that much more to do now. Villiers Mk flywheel timing. Make sure you're on top dead centre number one. Not number one, it's one cylinder. Top dead centre, both valves closed, so that's your compression stroke, that's firing. You have 2 marks, one on that housing, one on the flywheel. Line them up and then tighten up your nut. That'll pull in the flywheel and you should be timed. Then just a matter of going down there, it's a bit hard to see, and check your points gap. I did them at about 12 thou. Put the plug on, got a damn good spark. So we should be pretty right there. You could probably just slightly advance that. In other words, we turn that way. If you just slightly advance that, that's probably timed right on top dead centre. Just slightly advanced it and then lined them up, you probably get a better result. But it should be pretty close to right, as I say. It's all I want him to do is run and run half reasonable. I don't even know if it'll go. It wasn't going when I got it, so we'll see. Let's bung the head on. Just about finished here. Well, not finished. A little bit to do. Yeah, flywheel's all done. Pull starts back on. Carby's done. Governor is roughly set. As I think I said, the more tension on the spring, the harder she'll rev, but you can change that down there. Yeah, heads on. Crankcase breathers in. Don't forget to put that bolt in if you're not using the original tank brackets, because then you'll have a hole in the crankcase and it will leak. The other thing I've got to do, of course, is fix up this exhaust. I'll do something. I'll see if I can make a little sort of a baffle in it or something. I don't know. We'll see about that. But we're going to sit the cowling on temporarily, and then we're going to start making a bracket for the petrol tank. Cowling's on, guys. We're just about done. I've just got to make up a bracket for the tank. And the plan, it'll have to sit a bit higher, just so you can get the plug out, but that won't be a problem. I'm going to try and utilise 1, 2, 3 to make a bracket. A bit of flat and a couple of uprights, and that should do it, I think, I hope. Yeah, we're going to find out. Anyway, she's basically done. It's got good compression and that, and well, I hope so. Anyway, it feels like it's got a bit of compression there. Yeah, let's get the tank done and then we can bloody start her up.
Well, guys, that's it for the Villiers Mark 10. Started first shot, ran like a dream. Had a little fuel leak, and I thought I'll turn it off to fix a fuel leak, and it didn't start again. No spark. I think the coil's gone on it. Just trying to decide what to do with it. But thank you to my subscribers, my viewers, and anyone else who contributes anything at all. And I'll see you guys on the next project.